Oops, wrong agenda. Oh, Mary.
Good? All right. Call the City of Staples City Council meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, good evening and welcome. We'll get started with the approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Roy,
Second.
second by Mary. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3 is to approve our consent calendar, which is minutes of the previous meeting and some payment of bills.
So moved.
Motion by Roy, second by Ron. Any discussion? Okay, not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll move us to item number 4, and that's to consider amendment to the comprehensive plan concerning energy and environment. I don't know. I had to. My brain had to process that a little bit.
Yeah.
Certain letters, because, you gotta use Microsoft, it's really good to get it to do that. Anyway, the agenda item, we have some guests here tonight to talk about the energy and environment amendment to our comprehensive plan. Planning and Zoning Commission basically has followed the same process that we do with any kind of a comprehensive plan update or amendment. Held a public hearing, and ultimately, was that last week, the majority of the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend the council move forward with adopting it. So, and we can talk about that more, but then Erica, do you want to kind of walk through it a little bit?
Yeah, so if you have one with you, if not, I can send through it too, but this was part of the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency grant that Richard Black got, and Staples and Hackensack, I believe the city council approved it before we started the process, and we had a planning team, some people from the city, including Weston, Scott, and some people from the community come together, and the idea was to match some goals of the comprehensive plan and come up with some goals and action steps around energy and environment. It's a non-binding agreement, suggestions of some potential projects for the next 5 years around energy and environment. And if some of these projects are still of interest in the next 5 years, to Region 5 can help out with this, but nobody's making you do any of this at all. It's just some suggestions of projects. And if you kind of go through it, the introduction goes through some of the background, and then how we prioritize the projects based on if it saves time and money, relates to a comprehensive plan, and then relatively easy to accomplish. And then these are the, this page 6 is the projects in focus this year, and a lot of them, you can look at work, Scott, look at them, are pretty much done. And you'll see that they're associated with this project too. The approval of the plan gets $10,000 to start implementing the projects. And so the committee chose helping to convert some of the LED lights and to give some magnets and information about where you can take hazardous waste in the community as well. And then as followed, some of the community survey highlights, what people said, and then the options for the 5-year action plan, the goals, and some of of action steps to consider. And that ends with a bunch of data and baseline summary of energy use and some water and community background as well. So that's kind of the basis of the plan and where it's coming from. Yeah, we can, include that.
The only thing I would add, this is kind of a new aspect that I guess we're doing at Region 5, besides Staples for this year, Hackensack also did this. And other than, theirs was not an addendum, theirs was in their comp plan update. So they were due, I think their plan was last done in 2009. And so theirs was just part of that entire process. And then for here in Staples, it's an addendum to the 2018 plan. And the whole process was basically the same thing that you did in the comp plan. Community input, the survey, the local planning team. It's all in there. It's hard, it might be hard to think of it as not something separate, but it's included. It's not something new and scary that we're trying to bring. It's just times are changing, and it's something that the old one didn't have, and we're trying to help the communities around to get that. And then next year there'll be 10 programs. We're working on 8. So yeah, it's something we're just kind of trying to bring to the region with that PCA funds. Any questions or?
Do you have any?
It was really, really good information, interesting read, for sure.
No, if there's no questions, I guess we'd consider.
I move we adopt this addendum to the comp plan.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Ron, second by Mary. Any other discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank
Scott.
you. It's been a long process.
Scott and Melissa, you were involved too, right? Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys. Hopefully we can, some good information in there, and hopefully we can use that moving forward.
We've actually purchased some of the LEDs already. We haven't installed them yet, but that will be probably be a fall or winter project.
Awesome.
All right, thank you guys. All right, now we're gonna consider an resolution 1851 for the sponsorship for the community concern for youth. Sorry, Tara, Oh, are you seeing this print? It doesn't, it's missing a bunch of letters.
Is it on your iPads, are those letters there?
Uh-uh.
What?
No, it
Oh,
says,
yeah.
Yeah, yours is missing it too.
yeah, Acrid Heart,
Yeah.
That is so
Acrid.
weird.
I have no clue what happened, so.
You guys have a get together or something?
Yeah, I don't know why would it have left the,
Was
The
it in the
original-
printing process from the Word to the, to the
I wonder
PDF?
if it wasn't going to exporting it to the PDF,
Yeah.
that conversion or
Something
something.
in that
I
conversion.
think something just wonky happened and.
That's weird. It's actually a brain teaser type of thing, you know, if you can read a whole sentence that's full of words with missing letters without pausing.
All right, so now we'll consider the resolution 1851, which I'm assuming is a sponsorship for the Community Concern for Youth program with Todd Wadena Community Corrections.
Is there an increase in that?
There's a little bit of an increase. The resolution takes us up to 4,089. The Staples Motley School District, 5,020. I think it was 3,900 and something last year.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Roy, second by Ron. Any discussion?
Ron, are you on that?
I am.
On that board? Have they been meeting during
They
the,
met last week, but it was down in the southern part of Todd County at a picnic or something. I couldn't make it, but it was during the day. Yeah, but they have a new gal, and she was here and spoke at one of our meetings, and then she has been meeting, yep. Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, not hearing any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Excuse me.
They do a nice job with students.
Yep. We'll move on to item number 6, and that's consider an application for bingo and raffle at Sacred Heart Catholic Church on October 24th of this year.
I'll move that, so moved.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by John. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. And then item number 7, that's to consider authorizing Minnesota Petroleum
Service.
Service to. That one I had to pause on a little bit. ICE to proceed with fuel system improvements at the Staples Municipal Airport.
It's actually like Wheel of Fortune.
It is a good brain exercise.
Lucky I don't have a big crowd tonight. I think I'm losing it.
All the people on TV.
You'll think you're having a few before the meeting. So this is one of those airport projects that was funded with extra state MnDOT Aeronautics Office funding as a result of COVID when we went a whole year with FAA funding 100% of projects that involved the FAA, so they had extra money. So we looked at upgrading the fuel, updating the windows and siding and roof on the A&B building, and then also the T-hangar maintenance and repair grants. So we've been awarded all 3 of those grants. To date, this one is the only one I've been able to get a second estimate on. The other ones are still kind of languishing out there, looking for another contractor to give me a number. But Minnesota Petroleum was one, and then I did at the beginning of August here got a second estimate from O'Day Equipment that was actually at a little over $34,000. So my recommendation would be to give the nod to Minnesota Petroleum Service to upgrade our fuel system.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Mary, second by Roy. Discussion? Okay, not hearing any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, I've talked to a couple pilots, just recently about, I said that this is a project and they seem pretty excited about that. Wrestling with that.
It's funny because it would be interesting to put a camera on it, especially the ground strap reel, because the number of times where that's either tangled up or the clamp is busted off the end. It's like people go like that, from 40 feet out on the apron and let the thing go whipping back in. And then other times it won't lock, and but the fuel system itself, I don't know how old it is, the cabinet and the credit card reader and nozzle and pump and all the rest of that. So it's all of that above ground stuff out there, and it will also include the chip reader on the credit card, which we're basically mandated to upgrade to anyway. So should be good. I'll give them the go ahead, and hopefully all of the parts and pieces that they need are in stock and they can get out and go to work.
Good. All righty, we'll move on to item number 8, and that's to consider a request from Wahoo Valley Chapter of the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association to conduct a raffle on October 9th at Timberlake.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by John. Discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 9 gets us to committee reports. We got some P and Z.
Planning and Zoning Commission met on August 17th. Basically a lot of discussion related to the comprehensive plan amendment, primarily from a couple of the members, but the majority did want to go forward with it.
It's noted in here, the $3,500 dollar estimate of the savings by replacing, those LED lights that Scott had calculated. So it won't take very long, even though we're using grant dollars, it will not take very long for us to recoup savings on that project. Let's see here. Then we had another brief conversation about tarp sheds. And ultimately, planning and zoning is like, just keep it the way it is. Then we had the opportunity to talk about chickens some more. And ultimately, there was a recommendation from planning and zoning to move forward with a proposed chicken ordinance that would allow up to 10 chickens and, a couple of other minor modifications to what we had put in there. I think most of you are aware that, chickens are allowed in town. There's actually quite a few property owners that currently have and have had chickens. And so there's a desire to kind of put a little bit of structure to, what they need to do. It was, pretty silent on that, and want to make sure that, people having chickens aren't adversely impacting neighboring property owners and things like that. So council will get an opportunity to review and study the proposed chicken ordinance in the near future. And had a discussion about a screening fence up on 3rd Street and Summit, that intersection. With the modification of our fence ordinance here a year and a half ago, or a little over a year and a half ago, that actually is not in compliance. So trying to work with the property owner to figure out a way around it, because basically it's 20 feet of fence to keep the headlights from shining in the windows of the house. So trying to make it work for everybody. It's the job of the planning and zoning administrator, keep everybody happy.
Gerald's favorite part of the job. Any questions for Gerald? All right, now move us to open forum. No one speaking? All right, then we'll move to city administrator's report.
All right, just a few items here. As everybody probably knows, we had railroad days last weekend. Weather was a little bit questionable right away in the morning with 20-mile-an-hour west wind and drizzle and clouds. That may be why people weren't having as many root beer floats early in the day. But I think it was successful. I think I'm sure the chamber will make some changes and probably incorporate some things from that have been done in previous years into next year's. And but I think want to thank Maddie and the chamber board and the volunteers that they had for all their hard work. And after no railroad days a year ago, most of us had a hard time remembering what we were supposed to do. So kind of got out of the routine. But so anyway, just want to thank the chamber and their folks, Trish and their staff, Scott. Scott and I, took charge of signing the parade route, which we thought was a pretty important deal. So.
Yes, they were well placed. It'd be hard not to know that
Scott
they
only
shouldn't
stabbed
park
himself
there.
in the hand once. But, no, and then Tony Evans and Delvin Cole also both worked on Saturday as well, doing a lot of barricade moving and moving stuff around, so.
Did they work Sunday morning early too then to open up Second Avenue?
I don't know if Dell opened that up. I think after the beverage, after the beer wagon got moved, lefties may have pulled the barricades, because I think there were barricades on both ends, but the beverage trailer was still there overnight. So
Yeah.
But somebody drug them out of the way. I don't know if that was Dell or lefties.
All of the waste, the blue things were off the street, and
Yeah, those, when the tent came down, those went off, and I saw that they were still there, so we're gonna have to make sure the guys go and pick those up, down by Northern Pines, but otherwise, things, I think actually look pretty decent, downtown.
Yeah, I came home early Sunday morning and it looked good.
Yeah, yeah. So it was, sounded like, the car show at Beck's, had a good turnout and big, good crowd afterwards, and, so yeah, it was good. So look forward to next year. Reminder to everybody, September 8th, budget workshop. I'll be right here, 11:30 to 1:30. We'll do some sort of food, so nobody starves to death over that period of time.
Yes.
Maybe a fish fry, I don't know. Have to catch some, but, one thing I do want to talk with the council about, and it's not an action item for tonight, but just want to take the council's temperature. I have been in communication with one of the two owners of the property at 812 Second Avenue, one of the Falk houses, one of the big bluish, greenish ones kind of right across Second Avenue from like Mike and Mary Jo go off over there. And they are interested in selling that to us. We've been hounding them on some building maintenance code type things, but it's beyond that. So what they've offered, I don't have it, with the notarized signature, but, is $6,000 for that. My recommendation would be that we move forward with that.
Snap that baby up.
Mostly because if we do go after a hazardous building, we're gonna have probably half or 2/3 of that in legal fees, and then we still aren't gonna own the underlying ground, so, we would pay to, remove the structure either way, so. But I just wanna kinda get the temperature before I incur some legal fees to drop a purchase agreement.
And it'll be nice because of the bare lot right next to it too, so that makes it a little more attractive.
Well, and the whole, I mean, I think it's more of, we're gaining that, slowly getting that whole block
Cleaned up.
Well, and I think the goal going back to the Blonigan, acquisition over there, and then Franklin, and then the other Blonigan lot, and Charver, and, all of that is to make it easier for commercial development to occur along that corridor. Where if we have, don't necessarily have to have all of the parcels, but if we have a good chunk of the parcels, then a developer is negotiating with fewer parties. We did that with Casey's, and that still ended up taking forever to, finally get everybody in agreement to sell at the same time, so. But, yeah, so if the 5 of you are thinking that it'd be good to pursue it, get Joe on the horn and get a purchase agreement put together and get a hold of Deb and Jerry.
Yep.
Okay?
That will make people in the community happy.
Yeah, those have been on the radar for a little while.
How come it takes you so long? I said, it takes a long time.
Well, there's several ways to ultimately get them. Some are really expensive, and, others you don't know if you'll ever be able to, so. And we dealt with, over the years, a lot of properties that are really beyond the building maintenance code, where we do have the ability to go in and fix them up, but the cost to fix them up far outweighs what they would be worth when you were done. So it just doesn't make sense to invest taxpayer dollars in doing that. It's much better to try to figure out a way to acquire them and remove them, so. At least that's my opinion. And then lastly, labor agreements, September 23rd, 10 o'clock.
23rd or 22nd?
22nd, yeah.
At 10, right?
Show up 10 o'clock. Yeah. Anticipate about an hour, probably be the first of many as we go through the 3, so.
Do we meet a little bit before that to just kind of strategize and,
Yeah, it'd probably be good, maybe stop over about 9:30-ish. You know,
yeah?
nine,
Did you hear him say we'll
About a
come
half
at
hour early
9:30
on
and
that.
just kind of talk strategy and what we are going to offer? Same as Medicare?
What's it with you and Stan Carlson? Anyway, that is all I have unless there's any questions from the council.
How about, the treatment plant, how's that going? Scott?
Yeah, we had our update meeting on Monday on site. They did get a lot of the materials that were back ordered. A lot of those came in. They provided us a list with some of the things that are still on order. And also, we did hear back from Joe Kruger when we inquired about about their request for a 60-day extension. If we sign the extension, if we agree to it, then we give up our rights to go after damages if something occurred at the current treatment plant. So, and we haven't really had a discussion with Public Works or even Gerald and I, but I think it's pretty clear we would not agree to their extension. They did think that they'd switched it from 60 days to unknown, but then they did say on Monday that they think they can make it within that 60 days now, after a lot of the stuff came in, so.
Which is about, what, 35 days from now?
Yeah, which if you were walking around there, it's hard to believe that they'll get it all done in 35 days. You go in the buildings and there's still a lot to be done. So it's still, still wait and see.
We haven't, I don't think we've even forwarded communication from our city attorney down to Bolton and Mink yet. We just got that yesterday, so. Just to, so there's a component, a role that the engineers have to play in this, in the whole, what is it, equitable?
Equitable adjustment, I believe, is the.
Equitable adjustment, so there may be some, negotiated type arrangement in the meantime that would address the existing plan, but we'll see.
Being that we brought up equitable adjustment, we'd asked the attorney what that meant, and there's no case law defining it, so if,
Perfect term to have in a contract.
yeah.
So I would anticipate that at Public Works we'll have, some more info by then.
I'll move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Ron and a second by Roy.
I knew he'd get it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?